Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we would like to showcase to you how Forestpin can be used to mitigate and manage operational risk in purchasing and accounts payable. We are going to show you a dashboard on Forestpin Analytics and create some anomalous purchase orders and invoices in SAP. We will also introduce a few of the tests used for risk alerts and to take you through the alerts received. This is Forestpin Analytics. We have created a dashboard which showcases your spend by vendor and material. This is a summary for purchasing invoices and payments by vendor for a company. This is a relative size factor test, which shows invoice value distribution by vendor. This is a summary on materials purchased. Now we are going to apply a filter for vendor EGS America. As you can see, the entire dashboard has now been filtered to this vendor. If we look now at the RSF test, it shows us the total, count, minimum, first quartile, median, mean, third quartile, and maximum values for our vendor, EGS America. The highest value invoice for EGS America is $185,000. Now, if we go back to the dashboard, we can see the summary by materials purchased for EGS America. Below that, we have another RSF test which shows us the distribution of material purchases by unit price. You will notice that all materials have only a single line. This indicates that all purchases by material for EGS America have been made at the same price. Now, let's go to SAP and create a PO and an invoice. This is a test SAP system which we have set up for demonstration purposes. We will be creating a purchase order for EGS America for a material at a higher price and higher quantity than previously purchased. And save. Now, to post an invoice for EGS America. Done. We have 4 tests that we would like to demonstrate to you today. The first one is the Z-score test. Allows us to identify high or low values based on past history. Example, high unit price purchases. The second test is the time series test, which allows us to identify when the cumulative value for a month exceeds a predicted value based on past monthly totals. Example, high invoice value for a vendor within a month. The third test is the weekly test, which looks at transdirectional distribution within days of the week. Example, payments going out on a Sunday where the company is closed. The fourth test is the duplicates test, which allows us to identify value repetitions. Example, doubling posting of invoices or reposting to the wrong vendor. Let's look at our first test now, the Z-score test. Let's start by going to our email. There is a new email which has been triggered for the postings done. We posted a purchase order and an invoice in SAP, and both documents have been alerted. If we open the purchase order alert, you will notice multiple tests have been triggered on this purchase order. This is a good example of the application of the Z-score test. Multiple Z-score tests have been applied either by material or vendor on unit price, quantity, or value. The first test indicates that a unit price of $200 for this hard drive is high compared to the prior purchase prices. The previous 51 purchases were all at $185. The second alert indicates the purchase value of $120,000 is very high in comparison to the previous 926 purchases, of which the highest value was $74,740. Similarly, Test 3 indicates anomalies on quantity purchased for the hard drive, and Test 4 indicates anomalies on value spent on the hard drive. All detailed information related to this transaction is available for further scrutiny below these tests. You might have noticed a value computed in red at the top of the alert. This is an internal composite scoring generated by the tests that are triggered by the transaction. The higher this score is, the higher the anomaly. This score is based on a series of tests that we just showed you. You have been alerted to an anomaly. Now what steps do you take? Once you decide on your course of action, there is a workflow in place for you to assign and track all action taken on the alert. We have a machine learning algorithm implemented on the statuses of the alerts. For example, if the user marks an alert as not useful or reduce alerting me, Forestpin will automatically reduce the number of similar alerts sent out over time. Whereas, if the user marks the alerts as human error or found manipulation, then Forestpin will highlight more of this type of alert over time. Over time, this learning mechanism is applied to the composite scoring. This plays a very important role in molding the alerts to a company's risk profile. Now, we will take you through our second test, the time series test. This new invoice for $10,000 has triggered a time series test for this vendor. What this test reflects is that despite the small values of this single invoice, the cumulative value for the month for this vendor is higher than predicted. The time series test also highlights the changes in the vendor's activity over time. Where it once used to have frequent, large monthly values, it has experienced a long period of inactivity, followed by sudden activity. This is a good example of how Forestpin can highlight dormant account activity. Similar to the previous alert, the transaction details are stated below and the workflow is available. Let's move on now to our third test, the weekly test. We have selected a transaction which has triggered this test. Essentially, it is looking out for transactions done on unusual days of the week. In this example, it is stating that out of 501 purchase orders raised for the CEB Berlin, this is the first time a purchase order has been raised on a Sunday. As shown previously, the transaction details and workflow is available below. Now, let's head back to SAP to create an example for our fourth test, the duplicates test. We are going to create two invoices of the same value for the same vendor. SAP will warn you that you might be duplicating the invoice. However, it may not stop you. Back to the mailbox and open the alert received. The alert highlights that the value 7656 has been duplicated multiple times, and in this instance is to the same vendor, which in a real-life scenario could be a duplicated invoice in the system. The test would still be triggered even if the vendor was different, hence highlighting the possibility of posting to a wrong vendor. Those are the four main tests used in purchasing and accounts payable. In addition to these tests, Forestpin can also implement rule-based alerting. For example, variance in purchase price versus contract price, deposits not banked within a specific period, uncleared items in a suspense accounts, etc. All tests in Forestpin are generic and can be applied on any transactional data stream. We do not use sampling. Every single transaction is vetted. Models are built for each vendor and material can be configured for any other grouping required. Example, branch, user, account, etc. Remember that suspicious invoice you wanted to look into but have to scroll through 3 months worth of email to track? All alerts are captured on the Forestpin analytics, inclusive of when the alert was sent, last updated date, investigate date, time taken to begin an investigation, time taken to investigate the transaction, etc. Also, any alert can be accessed through Forestpin Analytics by simply clicking the URL. This removes the requirement to filter through past emails to find alerts. This demo was set up using our SAP certified connector, extracting data from a demo SAP system. Today, the Forestpin connector can integrate with most known databases and can be set up to work with any API or CSV files. Initially, the Forestpin risk alerts require a minimum of 3 years of data to build the computations required. After that, new and change records are extracted on a daily basis during non-productive hours. This process is completely automated and is non-invasive towards the source. The connector has also the ability to extract data from multiple sources and combine data with Forestpin. Today, we have focused mainly on the Forestpin risk engine, which, to quote one of our customers, is like a dormant watchdog for business transactions. We have also given you a glimpse of Forestpin Analytics and showcased how RSF text can be used to understand distribution of numbers. Forestpin helps our current customers on a daily basis to recover financial loss, continuously improve their controls and processes, deter and highlight fraud on an ongoing basis, maintain an accountability, as well as identify areas of improvement. Forestpin is currently being used across many industries in many different areas such as insurance claims/policies, hotel reservations, stock variances for retail, and etc. Wondering about your return on investment? The total Forestpin alerts identified as human error in 3 years, as at February 2020, equates to nearly $4 million. The total value of Forestpin alerts identified as process improvements in 3 years at February 2020 equates to nearly $26.5 million. On fraud, we would like to highlight a newspaper article published by one of our customers, Fairfax Insurance, a subsidiary of the Fairfax Group, and one of the largest general insurers in Sri Lanka. They currently identify and save money on a daily basis on attempted fraud based on alerts received from the Forestpin risk engine. Their return on investment took less than 6 months. Our customers today are continuously tightening their controls and processes by using both Forestpin risk alerts and Forestpin Analytics in tandem.